I welcome you all for this class on understanding Buddhism, a Christian missiological introduction. One of the important questions that we need to place before we commence this class: why does this course exist? This course simply exists to understand how Buddhism is followed by over 500 million people worldwide. And it is one of the most significant conversation partners for the global Christian mission. Secondly, to engage fairly, this course studies Buddhist thought on its own terms, as Buddhists themselves understand it, before any Christian evaluation is offered. Thirdly, to respond faithfully, the students are equipped to relate Christian truth to Buddhist concepts with clarity, respect, grace, and never to win an argument, but for a genuine, loving engagement. The question that we need to place here is, who was the Buddha? Where does he born? Why do we talk about awakening, enlightenment, and teaching? It has been understood Buddha was born the present day Nepal, a prince of privilege and comfort. When we think of his life, he encountered a lot of suffering and old age and death. As we think about his life, he renounced his life and practiced extreme asceticism, then turned to meditation. When we think about enlightenment, the Bodhi, the awakening under the Bodhi tree, he became the Buddha, the awakened one. When we think about his teaching, he spent the rest of his life teaching the path he had discovered. His teaching from the foundation of all Buddhist tradition. Well, as you engage yourself in the reading text, you may understand a little more better about the life of Buddha. The four important noble truths of Buddha or Buddhism, the foundation of all Buddhist teachings. One is called dukkha, suffering. The Buddhism teaches that life involves suffering, dissatisfaction, impermanence. Nothing in this world is conditioned which will give you full and complete satisfaction. Samudaya. It also talks about suffering rises from carving and attachment to pleasure, to existence, and to non-existence. Thirdly, it does talk about nirodha, cessation. Suffering can cease. When carving ceases completely, suffering ends. This is the possibility of liberation. The fourthly talks about magga, the path. The eightfold path is the way that leads beyond suffering to liberation. It is both the map and the road. As we engage ourselves in understanding the Four Noble Truths, it is also very important for us to understand the Eightfold Path and Nirvana. Look at here, the wisdom, contact, and meditation. If you think a little more deeper into understanding the Eightfold Path, it's all about the wisdom, right view, right intention. When you think about the contact, right speech, right action, right livelihood. When you think about the meditation, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Nirvana teaches liberation from samsara, the cycle of rebirth, through the complete extinction of carving, ignorance, and suffering. This is the ultimate goal of Buddhist practice. So as you try to expose yourself in the light of understanding the Buddhist teaching, you will be able to understand a little more about the Eightfold of Buddhism. There are three major Buddhist traditions which you will be discussing in the class. Theravada, the teaching of the elders. Now, when we think about the teaching of the elders, it stays closest to the earliest Buddhist text. It does emphasize the monastic path, meditation, and individual revelation. The countries like Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Myanmar does have these practices. Secondly, you will have the great Vajrayana, Mahayana. The countries like China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam follows. What does they understand about it? One of the important things they do understand is one who delays their own liberation to help all beings reach it. The greater love for the grace like concepts. It talks about the liberation. It talks about how to reach to that level. And Vajrayana, the third important cycle, which we call as a diamond cycle. Now, it builds on esoteric rituals, mantras, visualization practices, lamas, and spiritual lineage play a central role. Three important traditions which we'll be discussing more as you read some of the readings which we have given in the class. And the 12 weeks journey that you will have, the first 2 weeks you will be trying to understand the origin and the life of Buddha through classes, through readings. And weeks 3 and 4, the core teaching, the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path. 5 and 6, major traditions. 7 and 8, Buddhist practice and meditation and ethics. 9 and 10, Buddhism in Asia and the West today. And last 2 weeks, the Christian engagement and final research paper. Well, what you will do in this course, you will have the reading materials for every week. You will have discussion forums. You will have the quizzes. Finally, you will have the research paper to submit. Once again, I welcome you to be part and parcel of this class and to have the careful listening, critical thinking, and gracious engagement. As together, we seek to understand the Buddhist neighbors and represent Christ well. Let's listen carefully to understand what Buddhism is all about. Let us think critically to engage our rigor and intellectual honesty. Let us engage graciously, represent Christ with love and respect.